Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Karak with Mehreen show. I'm very, very excited about today's guest. She is the first doctor to be on the show. She is a phenomenal woman who is empowering people all over the world because of her skincare brand, Doctor's Dose. She is making people feel more empowered and confident about themselves. She is not only a doctor, she's also an entrepreneur. She's a leader and just an amazing woman. I'm very, very excited to welcome Dr. Hasia.
Thank you so much, Mehreen. What an introduction.
Thank you very much for being here. So it was funny because we were just talking about your name and I was trying to confirm how do I pronounce your last name, and I just found out that you changed your last name. Do you want to?
Yeah, basically, the first thing before I started my business, I was like, okay, I need to change up the energy in my life. I'm very much about energy mindset. So I thought, who really inspires me in life? Who do I want to be like one day? And, growing up, I'm a Muslim and I've studied Islam. At one point, I was studying to become an alama. And for me, my biggest inspiration is Khadija bint Khuwaylid, or Khadija al-Khubra, which was the Prophet, peace be upon him's first wife. And why was she my biggest inspiration? Why is she my biggest inspiration? It's because she was a phenomenal businesswoman.
Yeah, she was a trader.
Yes, exactly. She was a phenomenal businesswoman who was known as Khadija al-Khubra, which means Khadija the Great, because she was that good as a businesswoman.
Oh, wow.
As a tradeswoman. She was also known as the princess of the Quraysh tribe, which she came from. She had more wealth than all of the men in her tribe combined. And at one point, she even had 400 servants. She was an incredible businesswoman. And if I could be 1 ounce of a businesswoman like her, that would be my dream. So before I started, I was like, I need that energy. So Hasia al-Khubra.
That's beautiful. Oh my God, I love that. That's not the story I expected.
Oh, really?
That was beautiful, actually. But wow. And so did you officially change your name, like on your passports
it's
and everything?
Not official.
Or it's what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, that's really,
Thank
you are definitely on the path of literally becoming that, because I just found out that you've moved to Dubai 6 months ago and you've already you're an established entrepreneur here. You're establishing your personal brand here. Like, it's crazy. You've done all of that in just 6 months, which I can't even describe to you how impressive that is. Truly, it really is. So congratulations on everything that you've been doing.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to see. And I can see you living up to that name.
Oh my God. That means everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's, I'm a big believer of manifesting. Manifest your dream life, the energy, the positivity. I like to just surround myself with just good vibes, good energy. And this is just,
Yeah, that's so important. I think in life, cutting out the negative, not only so that energy can come from a lot of different sources, right? Like the things that we're watching, things that we're eating, the people that we're around.
Yes.
So cutting out all of that is so essential, but people just don't do that. Like, I think there's some level of confrontation with yourself that's required to do that, which is not commonly done.
You listen, protecting your energy is not selfish. And too many people feel like it's selfish. I can't cut out this person because, it would be selfish of me. But no, protecting your energy, prioritizing yourself, why is that selfish? We need to promote that more, of prioritize yourself, your happiness. It's your life. It's really that simple.
Yeah, I think like when you putting it in words, it's so true. Like when you say that, it's like, that is 100% true. I completely agree. Putting it in practice, at least for me personally, always been the hardest, because every time I want to cut someone off in my life, I know that person is not contributing to my life in any way, is actually contributing negatively, but I think 30,000 times because I'm like, oh, that's so rude. Like, I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Do it silently.
Yeah. That's the best. Yeah, honestly,
silently
true.
cut. Bye.
True, honestly, true. But
there doesn't need to be any confrontation. I'm so not a confrontational person.
Oh,
I will always stand up for what's right, but I do avoid confrontation. And I think just, silently cutting people off is the best way. If they're negative, if they're toxic, that's what you have to do. And have you ever heard of that saying about the people that you surround yourself with
are the average?
Yes, you're going to become like that.
Yeah.
So you need to surround yourself with people that inspire, uplift, and that you want to be like one day.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. We can talk about that in the context of you coming to Dubai.
Yes.
Because, I mean, obviously you moved from the UK to the UAE. You had to build new friend circles here, new environments here. It was a big change, and you've probably been asked this question a lot, but I love asking this question, which is, what was the biggest cultural adjustment you had to make when you moved to the UAE?
The biggest cultural adjustment? Oh my God. I don't know. I feel like I adjusted to everything very well because I vacationed here 2-3 times a year.
Okay, you were very familiar with, yeah.
So I guess the biggest shock was actually the difference between vacationing here and working here.
Okay.
That was the biggest shock to the system. I was like, whoa, it's very different.
So what was the biggest difference? Obviously, I think it's also the mindset, because when you come here with the mindset of vacationing, it's very different when you come here with the mindset of like hustling. And the type of places you would go to, I think maybe the people you would surround yourself with would be different in those two scenarios.
Yes.
What was it like for you?
So when you come on a vacation, you're very protected. You're with family or you're with friends. I came here on my own, just with my shoes and my bags. And I didn't know a single person, and I came here with 0 friends, 0 people that I knew, but I knew that this was important for growth, because in the UK the economy is going down, and as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur, it's a bad financial decision to be stuck in an economy that is going down. You need to go to an economy that's thriving. So that's why I had to make the move. It was more of a financial decision. But also, life's short. Go experience. Go have fun. And, like I was saying to you, money's not a fixed asset. It comes and goes. And for as long as you're young, you can make it back later. And with the help of the internet, social media, so many resources to make money. It's not like you need a formal education of any sort, right? So it's easy.
For sure. I think that as we advance, like as AI, technology, all of these things advance, formal education becomes less and less of a priority and less of a benefit to youngsters. I feel like, in my personal, I'm
agree.
still in college. I'm in my 3rd year of college. So for me, I'm still a part of the formal education system, but I can tell you from experience that I've learned a lot more on what I've done outside of university than from within university.
It's not highly relevant unless you want to be a doctor, you want to be a dentist or a vet or something. Yeah. You don't need university. Yeah. And I'm saying that as a doctor, someone who's been through the education system, someone who spent most of my childhood thinking, okay, I need to study medicine, so I have to work and study. I had a very much a study mindset. But now I'm out on the other side, and life's evolved, society has evolved, and I've realized, and everyone else has realized, formal education is absolutely irrelevant in today's day and age, because our priority now, in the time of super inflation, our priority is how do we keep a roof over our head and how do we pay for food on the table. And it doesn't really matter about what degree you have in that case.
Yeah.
You need to make money. So that's it. And making money is not, wealth is not correlated with the level of education you have. It's no longer correlated in today's society.
What do you think it's correlated with then?
The mindset. You've got to have the money mindset. You've got to have really like, you've got to be motivated. And it's all about that. It's if you're lazy, you don't have the mindset, you're not going to make the money. You're not even going to succeed with the degree that you've done. But if you have the mindset, like, doesn't matter if you don't have any formal education, you're going to make it. You're going to make money. You're going to find opportunities. You're going to do what you have to. That's why all of these mindset coaches and life coaches, they're doing so well, because people realize that's a real great investment in their future, their progression in life, their wealth, their success. Huge.
Yeah. And I think that there are so many different ways in which you could learn skills. It's the skills that you have. And those skills, more often than not, you learn them outside of the formal education system. You learn them when you actually get into the real world, the practical world. And what's the source of you going in and learning that skill? It's the mindset, as you talked about. That's the number one, I guess, step. So I completely agree with that.
And with intelligence, even intelligence is not correlated with success or wealth. Doesn't matter how intelligent you are, as long as you have the mindset, you're driven. Doesn't matter. You could be academically really like not intelligent, fail everything in life, but you can still be super wealthy and successful. It's got no correlation. And I say that as a doctor. It's true.
When you say intelligent, you're referring to it in the context of school?
School, academia.
Smart, like book smart.
Yeah, you don't need to be academic. It's no longer correlated. And back in the day, it was correlated. That's the thing. But society's evolved. It's very different.
But because you are a doctor, you've been through medical school, you've studied all those years, and it's very interesting that you're saying this.
Yes.
But you did mention that, schooling, education system is important for specific fields like doctors, lawyers. But even in those fields, like in the field of being a doctor, do you think that the years that you spend on medical school are still more than they should be?
Yes, because they're 5 years right now. We could have done medicine in 3 years. We really could have. But they kind of just spaced it out. And I feel that a lot of it is to do with money, schooling fees and things. These are all businesses. University is a business. There's so many different aspects as to why, the reasons why it's 5 years, but I don't think it has to be. It really doesn't, A lot of the time we were on the wards in the hospital, just on the job working. So you'd still have to do your day shifts, your weekends, your nights, and you'd then do lectures as well. And you'd, have the seminars, everything. So it was actually quite intense, but I think they could condense it to 3 years because right now in the UK, they have this system where they have PAs, physician assistants or physician associates.
Okay.
So you have anyone with like a science background degree in the UK, they can apply for like a 1-year conversion program, a 1 year of physician assistant degree. So then you can do almost everything a doctor can do, but you can't prescribe, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So if they're doing all of this in 1 year, surely we could do medicine in 3 years.
Yeah.
But, interestingly, I was going to college and doing A-levels because at the time A-levels were important, academia was important. If I go back now, would I go to university? Would I take the same route? Probably yes, because of my career. I need it. But back in the day, I really loved makeup and I still love makeup and beauty. So during the day I went and did my A-levels, and at night I went to beauty school.
Oh,
and I
really?
did that for 2 years.
Oh, I can see why you're so good at it.
Thank you. But I did that for 2 years. And my first business when I was 16 was importing makeup from China and Korea and Taiwan.
Oh my God.
And
So
I
you were
used to-
always like entrepreneurial. Yeah.
I was importing makeup of all sorts. Things. Now, this is when I was 16, so that's 18 years ago I was doing this. 18 years ago, when there was no Huda Beauty and there was no Instagram, I was importing this makeup, which was all sorts of glitter and shadows and colors and everything that you just had never seen in that time. So that was my first business. And I always think back and I think, 18 years later, if I'd persisted with my business, and it was called Beauty Genie. If I persisted with Beauty Genie, where would I be 18 years later? I always think that. But it's life is what it is, and you get what's
reason.
written.
Yeah,
You
there's a
always get
reason
what's
for
written.
whatever
Absolutely.
happens in your life. So yeah, like
Absolutely.
you were meant to come to Dubai. You were meant to
Absolutely.
be on this
it's
podcast.
it's not a bad thing that happened. I'm thrilled to be here and be doing what I love.
Yeah.
So yes,
I love that. But going back one step back to when we were talking about you coming to the UAE,
Yes,
coming to
yes.
Dubai, and there was one thing that you mentioned earlier to me was about laziness and about I think the lifestyle in Dubai versus the UK they're two different lifestyles. They're
Yes.
both like, I don't know, were you in London in the UK?
near London.
Okay,
yeah,
so-
about an hour and a half.
Yeah, so in the UK, of course, it's also, I believe London is a fast-paced city. There's a lot of entrepreneurs there, but still the lifestyle is different in both cities. So could you talk to me a little bit about what were the differences that you found when you came here?
So very few people live in London City.
Okay, they usually commute.
Yes. So the differences would be, it's much slower paced. Definitely. And you find that that's a bit strange because you're going to the Middle East. Surely the Middle East is slower paced than England. But no, it's slower paced in England. I would say that, it's more difficult to make money in England. There's more millionaires in Dubai for sure. So, if you have the right mindset and, you can make the money easier here, that's for sure. But you have to work. Like, there's more opportunities, I would say. There's more opportunities in Dubai to make the money. But also you have to remember there's a reason why there's more millionaires in Dubai. It's because when you ask them, they're millionaires in dirham. As opposed to millionaires in British pounds sterling, which is why this attracts so many people. It's easier to become a millionaire here. And in England, you have to work much, much harder. The taxes are higher, everything. So here you don't have that restriction. But then here, it's just so much more expensive, life is. Grocery shopping is around 3-4 times more expensive than England.
Oh, wow.
But that probably is because I shop at Spinneys.
Yeah, I think that's why.
So, it's like your grocery bill is 3-4 times more expensive. Your rent is 2-3 times more expensive. Everything is super more expensive here for sure. And it's very fast. Everything's moving fast. Everyone is moving fast. People are super motivated when they're here, when they're working, because people have come with the hustle mindset. And if you have 1 ounce of laziness, then, Dubai is a really good, it sifts through those types of people because they usually leave. They spend their savings, and you hear it all the time. People come to Dubai, they'll be here for 6 months, they'll spend all their savings, they'll go back broke. And it's because of the mindset. And if you get easily distracted by the bright lights, the party, the club scenes, because Dubai is the place to party. It's the party city. And it's like more party than even Las Vegas now. That's how party it is. So if you come, you're coming to this place like that's almost like Las Vegas. You're going to be very distracted by the bright lights, the party scene, the girls, the guys, the tourists. If you have that, it's going to spit you right out. The city is not for the weak. And there's too many stories of people having to leave broke back home. So you've got to have the mindset, keep the mindset, and be around people who have that same mindset. Super important who you are around.
Yeah. I think that's very, I mean, I used to live in Al-Ain, which is 2 hours away from Dubai, and I moved to Dubai 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I always found Dubai a very fast-paced city.
So fast.
But I feel like you just expressed it so accurately that if you're not working as hard as everyone else or more, Dubai will spit you out. Like, I think that was such a great point that you made. And if you do come here with a lazy mindset, then you shouldn't be surprised if you're not able to capture all those opportunities that Dubai presents, because you're right, Dubai does have the opportunities. You can access them, but you cannot be distracted. Like
100%.
On the way to those opportunities, there's gonna be all those little like obstacles, those all of those hurdles that you're gonna pass through, and those hurdles include everything that you mentioned, like the party scene,
the alcohol. Alcohol, despite it being a Muslim country, alcohol is everywhere, and it's increasing, it's rising, because there's so many places that sell it, and it's very open. So there's a huge alcohol culture in Dubai, and it's very easy for people to become distracted with all these things.
Yeah.
Lots of other distractions we won't go into, but it's everywhere, right?
Did you find it more fast-paced than... Oh, yeah, you were saying the UK is very slow, but England is very slow-paced.
But I'm also a country girl. So where we come from, there's a lot of greenery and hills, horses down the road. Like, it's very suburban, very quiet. We call it the country.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like the country vibes. I don't know if that makes sense.
Like, I understand. I've seen it in... movies, they call it country.
So like, I'm a country girl. I'm not actually a city girl, but I'm very attracted to the city. I love the city. That's why I used to be here 2-3 times a year, but still I'm a country girl at heart.
So sometimes do you miss that? Like, does the fast-paced lifestyle get to you?
Oh yeah, like I always think, Dubai is really good here. You get the opportunities, you can make your money, you can make it fast, you can grow fast. Like I said, it's a rising economy. You got to be in a rising economy if you're an entrepreneur, businesswoman. So you can do all those things. But where do I see myself in 10 years' time? Like, I would say a place like Thailand.
Oh, really? Wow.
Thailand, Sri Lanka. These places have like a slower pace.
Yeah, like
and
more,
just more nature
vibes. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I guess you, because you said you're a country girl, you always have that in you, that nature aspect of things. So
I want a quiet life at the end of the day.
Yeah. This is, I guess, I think Dubai is, everyone says that it's like a transit. So as in, people would come here, make the most of Dubai, make the most of the opportunities, the money, whatever it is, but they will eventually settle down maybe somewhere else. For me personally, I see myself settling here. I want to stay here all my life, but I've heard this quite a lot when foreigners come here. They see this as like the transit location where they try their hardest, hustle, make the most, but then go back to a more peaceful, I guess, area.
But saying that, like, I mean, I love Dubai. There's a reason why this was my favorite place. I love it. Absolutely love everything about it, from the culture, the government, everything. But, I'm saying this that in 10 years time I might not be here, but to be honest, a lot of people, when they do become established, they stay.
They don't want to leave.
They don't want to leave. It has the appeal and it has the pull. So when you become established, life gets really good here when you're established, because you have access to so much luxury. It's the ultimate luxury lifestyle, and that's why it attracts people with money who are established. So who knows what will happen? If I want the quiet life, maybe I should just go to Sharjah.
Or come to Alain.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Or you can have a vacation home somewhere else.
Yeah,
But
maybe I can do weekends over there.
But it's so true that I think it's the comfort, the convenience, the luxury, the safety, all of these aspects play a significant role. And once you built your environment, your people, your work, everything here, you're right. It's hard to let that go.
Yes.
And because on top of that, you're getting all that comfort and safety.
Because actually, like I was saying, I go to Riyadh quite a lot. And even going from Dubai to Riyadh, I'm like, oh my God, life's so hard in Riyadh. Like, I'm just like, wow. Because you don't have Careem. You don't have the same access. Like, it's so hard to get a taxi in Riyadh. Not everyone speaks English, and it's really hard if you just want to I don't know, just order something. That's my biggest bugbear there. I just want to have access to everything at all times, and you don't have that there. So I do get, yes, you're very spoiled.
Yeah,
in
I was
Dubai.
just going to say.
Very spoiled. So then when you go to these places, you're like, oh my God.
But then do you think that because you get spoiled and pampered, you don't get a taste of how the real world is, if that makes sense?
Why do you need to have a taste of the real world?
I guess when you want to travel and yeah, but I guess if you're settling down here, then you don't need that.
I mean, if you're fortunate to be born into luxury and you've just been exposed to luxury your entire life, why do you need to go into the real world? Enjoy. Why make life difficult for yourself? Honestly, I'm a big believer of don't make life difficult for yourself.
I think I mean that's true.
Just
why make life difficult first? Be grateful.
Just be grateful and
yeah.
just keep going. I'm so happy if that's if people live that. I personally haven't come from that. I definitely have seen the struggles and challenges and obstacles. But if you're fortunate enough to be born in that way and just live a pure luxury life, good for you. Oh my God. That's amazing.
I think, yeah, definitely be grateful. That's fortunate.
But if you want to do your own laundry and take your own bins out and, go to London. You can do everything yourself there. Literally. Go to London.
So talking about the two differences, we talked about the fast-paced lifestyle, slow-paced lifestyle. There's a lot to dig in there. One thing that I was interested to know about, because obviously you've worked in the field of aesthetics, and I wanted to know the difference between that, what kind of experiences you've had with how people react to plastic surgery, aesthetics in the UK versus here. What has your experience been like with that?
People love it. People accept it. They love it.
Here or there?
Both places. UK, London. I've taught in Bangladesh. I'm a teacher, so I teach aesthetics all around the world. People have been very responsive in a very good way. Society's evolved. Back in the day, 15 years ago, yes, there was a huge stigma around aesthetics and fillers and Botox. But it's so common now. And most people have something or another done. Most people have some sort of tweak. And there's no shame in that. Doesn't need to be negative. People, they just want to live life on their own terms. Live life on your own terms. Be happy, be confident. Most people have front-facing jobs. Most people now do have to work because of inflation. Most women are now leaving their homes to work. That's the main thing that we do, is we work. So when they step out their house, they want to feel confident, feel good. They want to perform their best in whatever they're doing. And aesthetic medicine is a way to help people do that and grab the opportunities, you know. That's why they do it. And that's why my patients come to me. They want to feel better about what they see, what other people see. And whether we like it or not, this is your first impression to the world. It's your window to the world. Whether we like it or not, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, this is the way it is. So this can determine the opportunities you get in life. So if you want to create more symmetry with something, if you want to make something look more rejuvenated, less aged, brighter, glowier, happier, then why not?
So one thing that, I mean, everything that you're saying about how it empowers women, or I mean, even men can do it. So how it empowers people and make them feel more confident. How do you, I guess, ensure that that happens for people without them feeling like their identity is changed? You know, like how does that happen in the aesthetics world?
I don't overfill. I don't overfill. So when they're looking in the mirror, it's still them, but it's them enhanced. It's them, but just a better, brighter, rejuvenated appearance, you know? And that's what most people want. Because, you know, a few years ago, you know, people, even now you see it, but a few years ago, the trends were more of an overfilled look. Get the chiseled jaw and the chiseled cheekbones and the, you know, the really pointy chin and the overfilled Russian lips. So you have this overfilled look, which now is kind of petering out, actually. So more people are recognizing that we just want to look like ourselves, but just maybe 10 years younger or more enhanced. You know, maybe we've got a little bit of asymmetry. We want to correct that. And that's what people are looking for. You know, when we age, we have volume loss in our face, under the eyes, mid-face, nasolabial. We have tons of volume loss. So a really easy way is just to go in and replace the volume you've lost over the years, and make you look younger. You know, and one of the things that I always say, and this is one of the trends that it's sort of a trend, but maybe it's more of a realization that people are having on social media, everywhere. People are realizing that high value women in particular do not have overfilled faces. When we look at high value women, you think of people like, for example, Kate Middleton. You think of Angelina Jolie, Queen Letizia of Spain. High value women do not have overfilled faces. So how do they look so immaculate? And this is exactly what I'm bringing to Dubai. This is what I'm bringing. There's ways that you can do things with volume loss filler, with collagen stimulators, which are absolutely fantastic, and you can look like these people. Because believe me, you know, overfilled faces, it's gone.
So one thing that I remember you were talking about was the type of aesthetic surgeries that people in the UK do versus people in Dubai do, and that I'm not sure how it is in the UK, but in Dubai it was quite common to see people having overfilled like cheeks or overfilled, you know, fillers. So how did you see the difference in the trends there versus here?
You know, Europe in general, UK, Europe, It's, yes, we tend to be a little bit more understated, a little bit more subtle with the filling. And I always, when I see an overfilled face, I think, did this person actually go to a medical professional, or was it someone in a hotel room with some filler? Because it's highly irresponsible for a medical professional to be overfilling to the extent that I've seen in some places. You go to DIFC on a Friday night, you know what I'm talking about. But you have to think like, wow, is it just a doctor being irresponsible, or is it they've just been to someone who's not a medical professional? Number two, cheap filler does this. Cheap, sometimes you're not overfilling, but you're using a cheap filler and it swells more than a normal filler. So you're going to look overfilled. And then poor injection technique is another thing. All these things cause these effects. And, so yeah, I see that in both parts of the world, in UK and in the UAE. But I would say generally in the UK, we're a little bit more understated.
So that means in the UAE, you've seen this more often, the overfilling aspect
more
of it.
Overfilling.
And you mentioned the reasons why that could happen. Could it also be, I remember you mentioning trends. So
yes.
It could be that people just like that. And eventually they realized that was not the best decision.
Yeah. Oh my God. So this is, probably one of the biggest culture shocks in Dubai. Dubai is trend heavy. Doesn't matter what the trend is. Dubai is like very prone to trends. It's about what's trending. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
So that was probably the biggest culture shock actually. And yeah, so I would say it is the trends.
So people are usually just following the trend. But can you reverse that?
You can
reverse the...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thankfully, if you have the overfilled look and finally you're kind of out of that phase, you've got over the phase in your life where you've had that look, you can reverse. So we use a little solution. It's Hyalase solution, and it instantly dissolves the filler. Instantly. So it's great, and I'm doing more and more Hyalase dissolving in Dubai because people now want this very subtle, elegant, understated look.
So
and
now the trend is changing.
Yeah.
Do you think the trend is changing now?
So yeah, for sure the trend is changing. Yeah. Can I just
turn that off?
Please?
Yeah.
Is it mine? Please just put them on silent. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't even focus.
It makes sense.
I was like, someone might call now, and there's a phone on that other sofa too. That chair, the other chair. Yes, if you just turn that on silent too, please. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Thanks. So the trends are changing, and I think a lot of that comes from people are evolving. There's a lot of talk around personal development, high value women, high value men. How can we be the best version of ourselves? How can we present ourselves in a certain way where we are eloquent, elegant, we're going to resonate with people, get opportunities in life, and really, a lot of it is to do with your appearance. The way you look, the way you groom yourself, your hair, your nails, your dress, is a way that you're speaking to the world and telling people who you are, your values and your beliefs. And you're also telling people how to treat you and how to respect you.
Do you think that I completely agree that the way you present yourself plays a huge role in how you are perceived? Do you think, however, that a lot of women focus too much on that side of things and less on the invisible parts, which is your mind, your intellect, your the way you speak, all of those important elements as well?
It all comes together. What you eat, the way you dress, the way you think, the way you speak, it's all you. and you work on one thing, naturally it's going to impact the other thing. So I'm a big believer of that, more of a holistic approach to yourself. Develop yourself in all ways. Try and be the best version of yourself in all ways. Yeah,
completely agree. I think that for me growing up, I always focused too much on like studying the intellectual side of things. That was more of what I was interested in. I wouldn't care about how my hair looked, what I dressed. Like I was very much like that in high school until I moved to Dubai, because I used to live in Al Ain and I felt like it wasn't a big deal. But when I moved to Dubai and I don't know, I just felt this, not pressure. It was just, I just naturally started feeling like, oh, I want to dress up better. I want to do this better. And because of that, I am perceived better as well. People treat you better, and pretty privilege is a thing. Like it's a fact. It exists. It's just how you use it to your advantage, I guess. So, I mean, I would definitely agree that very much exists in the UAE, in Dubai, particularly. You just like, instead of, I guess, victimizing yourself and thinking negatively of the fact that pretty privilege exists, I think it's important to think about how you can use it to your advantage. Yeah.
Use it, Yeah. And it's animal instinct. Pretty privilege is animal instinct.
What do you mean by that?
It's the way that the animal kingdom works, the gorillas, the lions with the lionesses. It's animal instinct. It's mating behavior. That's what it boils down to. So really just use it to your advantage and do the best with it. But the funny thing is that I obviously I was very much into studying my entire life, because it's very difficult to get into medical school. And
so
it
makes sense.
It's a huge challenge to get into medical school. Do you mind if I get some hot water? And my lips are very dry. Can I just
no, that's fine.
Can you get my handbag, please? Sorry. Yes, please. I'm
Your
just
lips
conscious,
are
and I'm doing this, and I don't want to keep doing that on camera.
No, but your lips are like, it's not dry.
They feel
Maybe
so
your
dry.
lips is. Do you think your lipstick came off?
They feel really dry. But I just hold the thought though, just in case.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my funny story. I don't know how much of this content's going to be usable at the end.
No, it'll be perfect. It'll be. I already can picture the clips. So
That's a good sign.
So don't worry.
We can talk about social media growth and trolls.
Oh, I think
because I think that might get you some views.
I think I mean social media and trolls. I've talked about that a lot in other episodes.
Oh my god!
Actually.
Okay, fine. Then we're not.
But maybe when we talk about entrepreneurship, I think now we'll probably shift a little. We'll start shifting slowly.
Let me just tell you the story about my
for
thing,
sure,
because it's very funny.
Yeah. So this is a story. Okay, don't tell me yet. Like when he comes back.
It's very funny.
But it's interesting when you say that Dubai, I guess, goes a lot with the trend, even when it comes to the aesthetics field. Because actually that is very true. I just never realized that even in this, because I didn't realize there's a difference between the way people do aesthetic surgery here versus in the UK, for example. I felt like, this is a trend everywhere. Everyone follows like the same thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
It definitely, you come here and everyone just wants to do, thank you.
Thank you so
trending
much.
Stuff. And then when you're not trending, you feel a little bit FOMO.
So when you say trending, this is like trending around the world, or like?
Usually, sometimes around the world, but then you have things that just trend in Dubai.
In UAE, okay.
In the UAE, yeah.
Okay.
So when you don't jump on the trend, you feel a bit of FOMO. And I never really jump on trends.
And it works
my
out.
Content's I just do what I want to do.
Yeah, and I feel like that I feel like jumping on the trends is very short term. It's the short term benefit. You can take advantage of it, but for the long-term growth, you really need to have something that is you know, yourself, not something that other people are doing. Yeah.
But the thing is that the UAE is so social media driven. So people really care about how many followers you have here. And I never was exposed to that before. It didn't matter, despite having 2 clinics, a very successful skincare brand, 2,500 patient database. It didn't matter to me how many followers I had on Instagram. And a lot of my work was through word of mouth. I never paid for a single, I never paid for marketing. It was through word of mouth. You should see my patients' stories and journeys and everything. It's all on my highlights. You'll see. It's word of mouth has been the biggest asset to me in my business, because if you're doing a good job, what I did was revolutionary. Prescription, non-prescription, very transformative skincare, changing lives. And I'm very grateful to be able to do that. But through that, naturally, comes this natural growth and word of mouth. Because if you have a billboard, for example, how many people passing past that billboard or that ad on Facebook are going to buy into that product? Maybe 2%, 1% if you're lucky. Whereas if your best friend, your sister or your mom comes to you and says, you know what, I went to Dr. Hassia, I had this done, or I brought this product and it was amazing, there's a 95% chance that person is going to come to you then. Because if someone raves that highly to me about a product, and it's my best friend, my sister,
I'm
getting that. Yeah. So word of mouth was the most powerful thing for my business. But coming here, social media, wow, like how many followers do you have is the thing. And I'm like, but I have these credentials. You know what I mean? I've been a doctor for nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in this field for like 10 years almost.
That's why buying followers is such a big thing here.
And then people buy followers and I'm like, what? Like, what? Because when you genuinely have a business, you genuinely have things to sell. You cannot buy followers because you need real clients. What's a fake follower going to do?
Exactly.
You need real clientele. And too many brands, too many people buy the fake followers, and you can look at their profile and in an instant you know they've brought their followers. And you look at their real views and it's like 3 people watch their reel. Oh, but you've got 300,000 followers. But like 3 people watch their reel. Okay. Okay, honey.
Some people are even buying comments and likes and views.
Yes,
it's insane.
Shocking. But you can always tell by the quality of the content. You can tell.
Sure.
But look, if you have a business, the worst thing you can do is buy followers. And if you have good content, believe me, you'll do well. Believe me. I grew to almost 100,000 followers in 2 months.
Crazy.
Like, you will do it if you've got good content.
Yeah.
And also, there's this thing where people say, be authentic. You know, I always hear this from influencers and people that have huge following. That be authentic. Just be authentic. And if I hear one more person say that, I don't know what I'm going to do, because, you know, it's a complete lie.
Really?
You saying be authentic is so inauthentic of you. I'm sorry. Because authentic is important, but let's face it, the majority of people on social media are not authentic, and they're killing it by not being authentic. The drama, the comedy, the ads, and, you know, people are engaging, resonating, whatever, but it's not you being authentic. It's not you actually showing up as you, right? So it's not authentic. So what's the key? It's passion. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. And people recognize your passion. And when someone sees your passion for your craft and what you stand for, that's when they're going to follow. That's when they're going to engage. And that's when you're going to get the client.
And that's how it's going to actually benefit your business versus all the fake followers and
the fake followers, yeah. But just be passionate and do proper, like, good quality content. Do your research and your homework. Analyze your reels and everything. Like, you posted a reel, okay, did it do well? Didn't it do well? You need to analyze and know why.
Exactly. Yeah.
If something worked well, do it again, replicate it.
Social media tips 101.
You have
So
to learn. I had to learn.
I mean, yeah.
Just being in Dubai, I learned.
Yeah, in just 2 months as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, I was not didn't
the
really do
social
this.
media. But you can see how, I mean, it's benefited as well. Like, you can see the benefits of it coming through. So, yeah. I want to go back to the story that you were talking about. Yes.
Okay, so basically you said that you were very much into the books, right?
Okay.
So I was very much into the books.
Okay.
And I used to study on days I didn't need to study. I was like a nerd. And so I was studying maybe 14 hours a day on average, which is a lot of studying, right? When it was exam season, I was doing 14-hour timetables. I had timetable. And I used to do it. It was very strict. And even at a young age, you know, it was 14, 15, 16, when I really... Those exams, we have GCSEs in England, then A-levels.
Yeah, I did the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you know how it is. So I had my timetables and I would structure and I was extremely disciplined. So I did all of that. And at the same time, I'm a very girly girl. So I'm still doing my makeup.
Yeah, you were going to beauty school.
I'm a very girly girl. So, and I, you know, love my clothes. I love my makeup. I love everything. But my teachers... You know, I was going to high school with makeup on, full makeup, glam.
And other
eyeliner.
Students wouldn't?
This was 18 years ago. Who knew about eyeliner? I was wearing liquid liner, eyeshadow, pink eyeshadow, blue eyeshadow. I had my lip gloss. I'd do my foundation, my blush, my highlight. I was doing all that because, remember, I was importing makeup. I had everything and I was doing it all just to go to school.
You had access to all the good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, just to go to school. And I, you know, straightened the crap out of my hair back in the day, curl my hair. It would take me an hour some mornings before school to curl my hair.
Wow, you were committed.
So committed. Oh my God, I hate my laugh. If you can delete that.
Why? So cute.
I'm remembering these days. And I used to have pencil thin eyebrows also. Because 18 years ago, that's what we did.
That was a thing, yeah.
You don't know about that. That was a thing. You have no idea. You're barely 20. You were probably 2 years old. You have no idea.
But I've seen my mom's pictures.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is what happens. So I'm going into school with my pencil eyebrows, my curly hair, and, you know, full like everything.
Wow.
And, you know, the funny thing is, so my teachers didn't understand because like I was a very girly girl, but then, you know, I had top marks in everything. So then I went to my sixth form college where I was doing my A-levels. And again, now I get to wear my own clothes. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to wear everything.
Let's go.
I love fashion. My mom was a fashion designer. She's a graduate in fashion and design.
Oh, my sister.
So I had access to everything when I was growing up. Every clothes, every piece of cloth and fabric and everything you could ever imagine. Jewelry, again, everything. So I'm like going into my sixth form like it's a fashion show every day. And then, I'm doing everything, doing the work and whatever. And then I remember one instance where we were doing like talking about our careers and we had to have meetings about our career. And I said, my teacher, my chemistry teacher, she was like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to do medicine. I'm going to be a doctor. And, but like my backup plan was always, because I was very much into math, so finance was like my backup.
Oh, your backup.
Like I always thought in my mind, if I don't do medicine, I'll do money. So, she had this conversation. She was like, you know what? I am not sure medicine will be the right career for you. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that? And I just remember her. She was like, I don't think it's the right career. And even at that age, I knew why she said it. Not because of my results, because I'll get onto that story. But she said it because I knew it's because I'm a very girly girl. I'm coming in with full face of makeup, full dresses and everything, and you think I'm not as smart as Edward, who's sitting next to me in chemistry class and looks a certain way or talks a certain way. And I've always had a soft voice, which is, again, people, I get trolled about because people think, oh, you're faking your voice or your accent. But no, so I'm like, yeah, I want to do medicine, and I'm going to be a doctor, and I'm going to do skin and everything. So anyway, what happened was she really pushed me not to do it. She told me I couldn't do it. I wasn't the right fit for medicine. And I knew it was because of the way I was. I didn't for a single day think of changing myself. But what I did do was get 100% in every single chemistry exam, every single biology exam, and every single math paper for my A-levels.
Wow.
And I killed it. And I was like, okay,
what do you have
here you
to
go.
I love that.
That's what I did.
You didn't have to reply with words.
I didn't. And I didn't change myself. I said, I'm going to do it. And here you go.
Wow.
And I love a challenge. That's why I'm in Dubai. I love a challenge.
I can see.
So if someone tells me I can't do something, I will go and do it, and I will show them.
It's an instant boost of...
But you know why I do this? It's because, of course, being a brown girl, we come from a very patriarchal culture.
Where we're told not to do a lot of things.
Yes.
So interesting. But is that the type of environment you grew up in?
Not really. Not for me personally, but I saw that that's how,
common.
Maybe my mom, my aunts, that generation. It was like, oh, you can't do that, or you can't go away for university to study, or you can't do that. So I feel like just being around that, I was like, I would never stand for that. I would not, I've always wanted to live life on my own terms. And same when I was in the ward, so sorry to interrupt you, but
continue.
Same when I was in the hospital wards. Again, I'm coming in as a doctor now. And by the way, in my university, again, I got top marks. Even though I was this way and I was studying, believe me, girl, I'm very much a steady person. So throughout the whole time doing that, then I'm on the wards, and now people are commenting and saying, it's not a fashion show, Dr. Hasia. And I'm like, really? Because
what's wrong with looking presentable?
I mean, I actually used to say, because I used to say, believe me, if I was on a fashion catwalk, I would not be wearing this outfit. And once I got a comment from a nurse who said to me, because it's in England, you have to have your hair up on the wards because of infection control, and you can't have your nails done and this and that. So when I was training, she was like, oh, and my hair was literally up. It was up and off my shoulders, and my friend was with me. And this nurse made this comment, because of course I had makeup on, and she made this comment oh, you look like you're going to a party. You're not going to a party, you're on a ward. And I said, listen, honey. And this is exactly how I said it. I said, honey. And she was 60 years old nurse on the ward. The real, those nurses that have really seen the NHS. So she's on the ward it's not a party. And I'm like, honey, if I was going to a party, you'd know about it. I'm not going to a party right now. But it comes with this thing, why can't you be both? Why can't you not be a girly girl, enjoy makeup, hair and clothes, and also be studious?
Yeah, honestly.
You absolutely can.
Of course you can. You definitely can. And I feel like for me growing up, so it was the opposite for me, as I was saying. For me, studious, I used to study a lot. I didn't focus on how I looked, and I don't know why. I just didn't care at that point. But my parents, my family, always used to be like, oh, maybe you should do this with your hair.
Oh,
and I was like,
that.
no, I don't care. But like as I came to Dubai, I felt like, why can't I do both? Like I can easily manage both aspects of my life, and it's important to do that. It actually boosts your personality, your social perception a lot more. So the fact that you were able to do that when you were young in school, like kudos to you, honestly. Like that's, and you were able to manage all that judgment, because it's unnecessary judgment.
Unnecessary.
It really is. It comes from a place, I don't know, of insecurity or of, I don't know, but
a lot of the time when people speak to you, they insult you or they say something, it reflects on what's going on inside. You're right. It's their insecurity. And, you know, she was bitter because I think she probably wanted to do medicine herself, or maybe something, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I can't help that. Let a girl live.
So one question of when you were talking about, this is your journey of becoming a doctor, and this is what you went through. When you decided that you wanted to go into the aesthetics field, was there judgment about that?
Yes.
What
There's
type of
huge
judgment?
Because the thing is, you come from the NHS, and I've been working in the NHS for a long time, and the NHS is like a cult. So you have people that work there, they're like, you know, they're just going on this hamster wheel, they're working, and there's sometimes, you know, there's things that happen in the NHS and no one can talk about it. There's so much that goes on, but it's like a cult and you can't really talk about it.
Only people
because of the repercussions, you know. So basically, there was a stigma because people couldn't understand why you would ever leave the NHS to do private work, and that being aesthetic medicine. You're going to inject fillers and Botox. Like, you know, you have these old school consultants and people that have really dedicated their life to the NHS with no reward, by the way. The NHS doesn't care. Like, people care when you save lives, and that's the rewarding thing about it. But the NHS is a system where you can feel mentally and physically abused, and you're just a number to them.
Wow.
A number and a rota gap filler, just a name on the rota. That's how I always felt. That's how people I know always felt. My friends who are doctors, that's how they feel. They're just a name on the rota. Wow. So these people couldn't understand why you would want to go into private industry to do aesthetic medicine. And again, it comes from the fact that they don't have the guts or the bravery to leave the security and stability of an NHS job and go into a brand new field and just start from scratch on their own.
Yeah.
They don't have the bravery to do it. That's all it comes from.
Yeah. And then, first of all, it's the bravery to do it, and then succeeding and dominating it, which is literally what you did. So
I hope so. I'm still on my journey.
No, but you are definitely.
Thank you.
So I think that it's really cool to see that level of courage that it takes and how you, I guess, battled your way through it. It's very, very, very cool to see. And talking about the aesthetics field and how, you know, growing up, when you became a doctor, even before you became a doctor, there were certain beauty standards. And I think that you were, I think you were like ahead of your time with the fact that you were curling your hair before school and all of those things.
I was doing the Hollywood waves before school.
Before it existed, exactly.
Before school.
But you saw, I guess, the evolution of different types of beauty standards, and you saw also the difference in beauty standards in the UK versus the UAE.
Yes.
So is there particular beauty standards that you've noticed when you came here that was very different from the UK?
I guess one of the things I would say looking at beauty standards in time would be, so when my mom was growing up, my mom's got very big lips, very full lips, and she'd always get told, you've got rubber lips. Like she'd always like people would, and so she would always like minimize her lips, which she's gonna kill me if she watches this. So the way she would do that was like she'd always try to talk
like, oh my god, she would try to make it thinner, I guess. Yeah,
she'd try to talk like by not emphasizing her lips, and then she'd always be very conscious of lipstick, so she'd never wear lipstick. My mom's never worn lipstick. Like she,
but why
now she does, because obviously, you know, I was very much into makeup and she was always my model, so I'd put everything on her. But back in the day, no, she didn't. Like this is when she was growing up, so I wasn't even born. But then now that's like the beauty standard.
The trend, yeah.
That's like, you know, full lips. But growing up, I remember, and she used to always tell me these stories. You know, that, that my lips used to always have to talk like this. And she always used to say that her mom she never used to let her wear lipstick and stuff. And that gave her more of an insecurity and stuff. And, you know, so it evolves. The beauty standards evolve. Yeah.
And I think that's why in my opinion, because beauty standards are always evolving, trying so hard to live up to that standard can be futile, because the standard can change. So then now you're just behind. I feel like navigating through those standards but still being presentable is the challenge, I guess.
It's just, look, this is why you have to go to a good doctor. Understand your face, your features, how can we enhance you? That's it. It's really that simple. Stop trying to chase the trends, especially with your face. That is always like, I've always been a bit, confused and baffled by that people would want to follow trends for their face. Do what suits and beautifies your face.
Your features.
Yeah, your features.
And so talking about other types of beauty standards, we've talked about, fillers, Botox, and how that has, I guess, influenced beauty standards, but also things like skin whitening creams or skin whitening treatments.
Yeah.
And that is aligned with colorism and the fact that being fairer and whiter is prettier in this side of the world. What are your thoughts on this?
It's definitely a culture thing.
Okay.
Definitely people feel that. But now it's becoming less and less so.
In here?
Yes, it's becoming less and less. So I see a lot of people for skin whitening and lightening. I see a lot of patients, they want to achieve this. But often it's not because they want to have whiter skin because they want white skin. But often it's because we live in a desert. And it doesn't matter how many concrete buildings you want to put in Dubai, but we live in a desert. This is a harsh desert climate, and we have a harsh desert sun. A lot of people are sun damaged and they look darker because of the climate. And you have hyperpigmentation, dark spots, and skin of color. Brown skin is at higher risk of hyperpigmentation. So people really just want to look like a brighter, lighter, glowier version of themselves. No one ever comes to me and says that, they want to look white because of colonialism, which, yes, that was the case.
I think that's what kind of that's the roots of colorism, as in the roots of colorism comes from colonialism. Because when you look at India, for example, the Mughal emperors were fair-skinned, the British were fair-skinned, so rich and fair were always associated with each other. And
Absolutely.
So that was all continuously reinforced by then media, beauty products, all of that. But I remember you saying that now it's not because of that, it's because of Like, what do you think?
From my experience, when patients come to me, it's really because they're sick of having a dull kind of complexion because of living in this climate. And definitely, you know, it was because of the colonialism back in the day. It was because it was associated with being rich and high society. Absolutely. But now, girls like me, girls like you, they want to just come in. They want to get rid of this, you know, sun damage, this tan that they've had. They can't get rid of this tan that they've had for 3 years or something. Like, that's, you know, and melasma, hyperpigmentation, they want to get rid of that. But definitely the roots do come from that. I agree with you. And, you know, I don't really know what to say about that. It's sad, but we're seeing less of it, which is a good sign. And, you know, have you ever seen when the scientists have predicted what the average human's going to look like in like 2050?
Oh, with their fingers like this. And I saw because this is like, I think 200 years or whatever, but because of using the keyboards and stuff, their fingers are, this is not an accurate representation. Goodness. It's kind of an extreme representation, but that's what I've seen pictures of.
So forget aesthetics doctors. We're going to need hand surgeons in 200 years time. It's going to be all about the hand surgery. But well, one of the things was about skin color. Scientists have predicted that in, you know, 2050 or whatever, everyone's going to be like the similar shade of skin.
Okay.
Because of the interracial, you know, mixing and everything. So eventually, most people, they're going to be the same skin color.
Oh, interesting. And I've also seen these things. I don't know if this exist, if they're commonly used, but before birth, parents choosing certain features of their children.
Yeah.
As in, like, you can adjust, for example, eye color, skin color of children. I don't know if this commonly exists, but I was reading something about that, and I was just found that crazy. But yeah, I think that...
Isn't that what Paris Hilton did?
What did she do?
I don't know. I feel like that's something she would do.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I can picture that in her. But coming back to when you were talking about, so we were talking about I've lost track, but no, it's fine. Yeah. So we were talking about colorism. Yes, we were talking about changing the color of your skin. And one question I had was, you were saying that it's reducing. One question was, a lot of people come to you saying that they want to make their skin glow or remove the tan or glow better. Like, for me, I want to make my skin glow. I don't want to change my skin color. I just want to make it glow. Don't you think that is different from skin whitening though? Because isn't skin whitening trying to change the color of your skin?
Skin whitening, skin lightening, they're interchangeable. Interchangeable. So it's basically the same thing. You're trying to lighten your skin. Skin whitening does have the negative connotations attached to it, for sure, because it kind of insinuates that you're trying to make your skin white. But really, who's going to become white like this? You know, it's not really going to happen, is it? So these two words are interchangeable, and some people have associated negative connotations to the whitening word. And then you have glowing. So some people feel that glowing for them is to look lighter and brighter. And for you, Mehreen, from what I'm assuming is, for you, you want to look glowy so that when the light hits the skin, it's like shining light bright like a diamond, yes?
Exactly, yeah.
So that's different. And we do different things to achieve that effect.
Interesting. So that makes sense that there's the distinction between that and that. So when you say that skin whitening, not skin whitening, but colorism itself, the problem of colorism, you think that is reducing here in this side of the world? And even though there are still people, I'm just reiterating your opinion, which was that the problem of colorism is reducing in this side of the world, and the people who do approach you for skin lightening or skin whitening, the purpose of that is not rooted in colorism, but it's rooted in the fact that we live in a desert.
I mean, it could be rooted in colorism. It could. But that's definitely not what people say to me.
To you. Yeah, I think.
So, you know, but deep down, subconsciously, there is that. Deep down, subconsciously, people do. Some people, not everyone, some people. And then it comes down to your culture, your family. Some families are very much into, you know, Betty, you have to be white and you have to use your Fair and Lovely.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then some families don't care. Like it's like it's not a thing.
Not even a topic.
It's not even a topic to discuss or mention. And it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be, because who on earth can control the color of their skin?
Exactly. It's something you are born with.
It's
born ridiculous
with it.
to be commenting
how
on that.
How can you even... How? Don't comment on something like that when you're born with it. It's as if you're blaming someone and you're trying to make them feel ashamed for something they were born with. I think that's completely wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm sure we've all heard it, especially when you come back from holiday and you've been out in the sun and you know, someone makes a comment like, "Oh, you look dark."
All the time.
Like, what's happened to your skin? Is it like an Asian family thing? I don't know, but they're like, "You look very dark," like, or "Don't be out in the sun for too long because you're just gonna get so dark." I personally don't want to get hyperpigmentation. I don't want to age. I don't want wrinkles. I don't want any of the sun damage. And that's the same with a lot of my clients.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to look at it. It's the fact that you want to improve your skin and ensure that there's no hyperpigmentation. All of these things is not because, oh, you hate your skin color and it's too dark, but it's because, I mean, it'll just make you feel more confident. It's better for your skin. It's healthier for you for when you grow older.
Absolutely.
I think that's the distinction. And I definitely agree that probably a lot of the clients that come to you, they come with that mindset. However, I believe that unfortunately the society's perspective on darker skin, whiter skin is still prevalent. Distinction that they make. I mean, I still hear these comments even in my family, because my older sister is fairer than me, so we are always being compared. We look very similar, but it's just the fact that she's fairer than me. So we're always being compared, and like, I've learned to deal with it. It's not a big deal for me, but I can see how often this happens until today. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think the reason that you are referring to is the right reason to be doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We live in a desert and we have to. And the great thing about this part of the world is, despite living in a desert, the incidence of like skin cancer is super low, because culturally, religiously, however way you want to look at it, people here, they cover up. And that's how you should do things in the desert, because you don't want the sun damage.
Interesting. So we are almost at time. I think we are literally at time.
Oh, okay. Yes. That went quick.
Yeah, that was very fast. Yeah. The last thing that I want to ask you before we end. So I want to go back to what we were talking about before the recording started, which was about how your skin and hair changes when you come here.
Yes.
And I think that would be an interesting thing to touch upon before we end.
Yes.
Was, why does your hair and skin change when you come to Dubai? Like, it gets more frizzier. You were saying that in the UK, people have things that add frizz, whereas here we have frizz-free products.
Yep.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So most people, when they land in Dubai, you go through this phenomenon, Dubai skin and Dubai hair. And if you're an expat and you've come here, or even if you're not an expat and you've been living here for a while, you're going to experience this at some point. Number one, the Dubai skin, and that's because, like I mentioned, we're living in a desert climate. You've got, the desert air, the sun, the harsh climate. So naturally your skin's going to be drier. It's going to maybe break out a little bit. You're going to get congestion. Your pores might be bigger. And don't get me started about the aging. The aging process in Dubai is accelerated, like so quick. So think of like, you come as like a grape and you become a raisin in the desert. It's so fast. Aging process in Dubai, and that's what happens to lots of people. And this is why the aesthetics industry is so huge, because everyone needs a skin doctor and an aesthetics doctor. And then, number two, you have the Dubai hair. So the chemicals in the water are so harsh. There are so many chemicals and minerals. The mineral content in the water is so high that you just have this buildup, and you have the flyaways constantly. And in England, you don't have that problem. You have more of a silky hair because they think the water's a bit better. So in England, we have products that add frizz to your hair. They add texture to your hair. You spray them on and you just kind of go like this with your hair, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm ready now. Whereas here you're like trying to like smooth, and it's like, it's very difficult. And again, with humidity, heat, the environment too. But in England, you have sprays that emulate like sand. And so we're literally spraying like this sand kind of spray in our hair, and we're frizzing it up and giving it more volume because it can be so silky in the UK. And that's very, very, there's two big differences. Yeah. But this is why this industry is huge here.
Yeah, it's literally the opposite of each other, which is so interesting. But thank you very much for this conversation. We talked a lot about so many different things, beauty standards, you becoming a doctor, becoming an entrepreneur here in Dubai, all the different changes you went through and how you adapted and tackled through those. So thank you very much for your time.
You're most welcome.
So lovely. And honestly, it's so crazy to me. Like, I was already very amazed by everything that you've been doing when I see you on social media, but through this conversation, learning more about everything that you've done, it's just like, it's so cool. So congratulations. Yeah, it's so awesome. In the end, I always give a little gift. So I have this pretty little tea box for you.
I get this.
But you told me you don't like caffeine, which I don't
drink caffeine.
Yeah, but this is like, I don't know, green tea, chamomile tea. So I think you can drink that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you want, you could open it.
Should I open here? Wow. See, I've seen this in the podcast. I've seen this online, but wow. Oh, wow. Dear Dr. Hassia, every cup of karak has a story. Thank you for sharing yours with me. Oh, thank you so much, Mahreen. I love it. Yay. Amazing.
I hope you enjoyed.
Oh, thank you. I can have most of this, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little worried, but now that I think about it.
Probably just black tea I can't have.
Yeah.
But the rest. Perfect. I'm obsessed.
I'm glad. I'm very happy.
Thank you.
So in the end, actually, we do a little cheers, which I forgot to do.
Okay.
So maybe we could put Feel Good Tea on this side. Do our little cheers.
Then we need a few photos and things.
Yes, and then, of course. Okay. This is how we officially end.
Okay. Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you so much for coming. Hello everyone, I'm so excited to introduce my partnership with Feel Good Tea. They're this amazing company that sells these beautiful tea boxes with a variety of tea flavors, which I'll showcase to you by opening this beautiful box. So as you can see, there's all these variety of flavors that are delicious, and Feel Good Tea, they truly value the love for tea that we Karak with Mehreen value as well. I love having conversations over tea. So because of this, I'm so excited for this partnership, and you can get this beautiful box too for yourself or for your family or friends using this discount code on the screen.